Well, it is 9 a.m. and we are going to kick off today's 1 Million Cups Westminster. Thank you, everybody, for joining. I'm Graham Dodge, the Executive Director of MAGIC, the Mid-Atlantic Gigabit Innovation Collaboratory, who is our community sponsor for 1 Million Cups Westminster. Our other sponsor is Furnace Hills Coffee. And for those of you who don't know, you get a 25% discount for your entire online order at furnacehillscoffee.com. So be sure to check them out and take advantage of that 25% discount. One of the organizers will post that link and the discount code in the chat. So I will now kick it over to Julius Knapp, one of our other organizers here at 1 Million Cups, who will just quickly review the core principles and what 1 Million Cups is all about. Julius, go ahead and take it away.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Nice to see so many familiar faces. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay. Start. Is it presenting? Can everyone hear me okay?
Yeah, it's not in full screen mode yet, but that's okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll just continue on. So, as I said, welcome to 1MC Westminster. Our mission here at 1MC is to lower the barrier for access to education, resources, and connections for entrepreneurs. But this mission, without the pillars and the core program, this mission does not get accomplished. Some of our pillars, this is presentations, not pitches, and connection, not networking. We really want to get to know your business and some of the challenges that your business faces so that we can connect you to the knowledge and resources that our community has to offer. Our culture for the community and by the community, nobody has ownership of 1MC Westminster, and nobody should be paid to do 1MC Westminster. And we are radically and intentionally inclusive. It's really everyone here that makes 1MC possible. And we're always looking to grow within the community to find new entrepreneurs and other business-minded people. So the core design of our program is we try to meet every week, Wednesdays at 9 a.m. We try to have 2 presenters whenever possible. Presenters and organizations must be less than 5 years old and willing to ask for help. We always end with the question, what can we do as a community to help you? And here's some of our organizers. And there you are.
Thanks, Julius. So we will kick it off here now. And before we do, I just wanted to congratulate one of our alumni, our first alumni since we started this program, who has actually been acquired. They're called Voice Vibes. You may remember them from several weeks ago, I think before the holidays. But Voice Vibes presented at 1 Million Cups Westminster. They're a Baltimore-based AI vocal coaching platform, and they were just acquired by a publicly traded company called Big Tin Can. So I think we're going to have Deb Cancro. Yep. Hooray for Deb and Voice Vibes. I think we'll have her here maybe next week to do a quick update and tell us all about that acquisition process, which happened really quickly from what I understand. So, all right. So let's get into our presentations today. Up first is Chris McCormick, founder of Shield Pals, a company I'm also a partner in. So I'm excited to have him share what he is doing with the rest of you today. Chris, go ahead and share your screen. Everybody else, you can mute. And then if you have questions for Chris, you just put them in the chat, and then I'll run through all the questions at the end of his presentation after about 6 minutes. So let's go ahead and mute. And Chris, go ahead and take it away.
Is that visible? Yeah. Hi, I'm Chris McCormick. Like Graham said, I'm part of Shield Pals. My wife and I owned an event firm And the last year as an event firm has been kind of difficult. We were able to shift gears and produce PPE equipment for hospital systems across the United States. And as we were doing that process, one morning I was watching my son sleep and thinking what a horrible experience it would be to have to take him to the hospital or any type of medical situation. And that quickly pivoted to his perspective of how terrifying it would be to experience the health system when you cannot see a doctor's face. You don't get to see the compassion, the kindness, because it's all being hidden behind masks and shields. So we had a bunch of printing equipment that we used in our event production business, and we were trying to figure out how to get this equipment back producing. So we're like, why don't we just try to print some silly faces on it? Put some stuff up on social media, and it kind of took off. So it was an accidental opportunity. We built a small little website and launched it up, did a couple sponsored posts, and was sitting out back one night with my family at a bonfire, and all of a sudden the phone went nuts. And overnight it kind of became a national thing that then became an international thing. We've been written up in Germany's national network news, China's, Switzerland, and it really kind of took off from there. The problem that we're trying to solve is, there's 62 million children that visit health systems every year. Childhood anxiety in a medical situation was an event before COVID. COVID kind of magnified it, and we believe it's going to be part of the conversation going forward. And we set out to, one, relieve the anxiety within the children, but then how do we also improve that for all involved, the doctors? How do we help make their patients, their customers, more relaxed so they can get to doing the business that they're supposed to be doing? With the printed face shields, we found out that it was a really great way for them to break the ice. It was a great way for the child to relax. And then we started developing more and more designs as people started asking for it more and more. Part of the deal we're doing with Shield Pals is we always knew that the face shield by itself was going to have a life cycle. So we needed to figure out how to expand this so that there was more to it than just the consumer-facing protective equipment device. So we set out to do an AR component so that doctors, dentists can communicate with their first-time patients and tell them how excited they are that they're coming, building toys and consumables, making video content and displays that kind of can explain, hey, you're coming in for your, first teeth cleaning. Here's what you can expect. So we're trying to give the child a little bit of knowledge before they get there so that they can have an understanding of what to expect. And that little bit of knowledge helps to take a lot of the fear away. Uh-oh. We've developed cartoons. We've developed an AR app. I don't think you guys can hear the sound. We couldn't figure out how to get it turned on. But it's an AR app with facial recognition that a doctor can record a greeting to the patient, and the patient then gets to read it and then or listen to it or see it. And then when they come into the doctor's office, the dentist or doctor would actually have the corresponding character that the child has chosen to see. We've done a lot in the licensing realm. Snow Commerce, part of Viacom's e-commerce division. Picked up SpongeBob and Star Trek. We tried to figure out how to branch it out besides just the plastic shields and medical. So we also launched specialty markets that became really great Halloween costumes. A lot better visibility, breathability. Here's some of the financials on it. Probably should have had that. Some of the traction that we've gotten. Washington Post, CNBC was on twice. Since around May, I think we've done maybe 2.3, 2.4 million in the face shields, and looking to expand that network once we get into the software component and the consumables. And Graham, you can chime in anytime you want. This is not, I'm usually a behind the scenes guy, so.
We've got 1 minute left, Chris.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is what kind of kicks it all home for me. This is one of the very first testimonials. It was about a child in pediatric oncology, and he had to have a spinal tap. Parents couldn't be there, and the nurse came in and was able to interact with him. Completely changed the way he was interacting with the doctors and the care they were able to provide. So they've really been adopted into people's work environments. And we hope that they're making a difference. And that's Graham, one of the shields. And that's it. So hopefully that kind of hit the key spots.
Excellent. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
We're all clapping.
Yeah, like I said, it's not I'm not usually this side of the camera.
Oh, that's all right. Hey, this is what this is all about, giving you that practice. So taking you out of your comfort zone, which is, I think I think you did a great job. So good job. So let's turn to the group here. You know, feedback. Well, at the end we'll ask what our community can do for you, of course. But so maybe Chris, think about that while others are typing in their questions. Let's see here. Carrie Pierce from Flip Yours Fitness and Change Space, who will be presenting next, commented she loved the tagline, "The Disney of Healthcare." I get to take a little bit of credit for that one, Carrie.
Yeah. Hey, Carrie, do you know Sam Shulin?
Carrie, do you know Sam Shulin? No, she's saying no.
Okay. Same name. So I just wanted to check.
Yeah, the idea of trying to sell the biggest vision of Shield Pals was important. Chris, we're getting a thing that says change the battery pack on your screen.
Battery pack.
Yeah, you're basically your feed just went out and it's just a black screen that says change the battery pack. Anyway, so so the whole idea of what's the biggest vision of this? Well, it's a media publishing company integrated into PPE and consumables and things like that for pediatric patient journeys. And that's where the idea of Disney for Healthcare came about. Let's see here. What else do we have? We've got Rick Leinbach from Startup Portal. He asks, would you mind explaining the revenue model, pricing and recurring revenue? Chris, do you want to speak to that?
Say that one more time. I was just
he wants to know if you can explain the revenue model. And I guess really what you're going to be explaining is where it is now and where it's going.
Yeah, a lot of what we're doing right now
recurring revenue
is product-based. It's really off of the actual product that we're producing here in Baltimore through the face shields. We're working up how the rollout of the technology component will be, but we're looking at it as a subscription-based model. you know, a lot of what we're doing right now is directly to health center or health systems, and also just e-commerce, which has been probably 80% of it for the physical. But then the software component, we're looking at, you know, having a health system, you know, buy a subscription where they get access to certain components that they choose that they want in a module kind of situation. So they can say, hey, we want the videos, we want access to the consumable section, the face masks, and building that out. So that's one of the things that Graham and our team are working on right now. Once we got a product base that we figure that we can start to market around.
Hey, Chris, this is Rick. Do you see the face shield sort of over the next few years kind of going away?
I don't.
Oh, okay.
I think it's part, like in the health system. I think
Right. Oh,
like
gotcha.
When Graham and I started, because it's always been part of the health system. You know, doctors, nurses, they've always worn them. When we started this, you know, the reason for doing the software component, the consumables, and building out the universe is we knew as a direct to consumer, you know, that it was, you know, 3-6 months a year. And then that part of the business would be gone, hopefully. But inside the health system, you know, they've always used it. And from what we've been told, it's going to be part of their uniform and the required gear that they have for treating patients going forward. We don't want to cast a wide net. We're not trying to be PPE for everything. We're going to go pretty narrow and just really focus in on the pediatric side of it.
Thanks, Chris. And we have a question from Russ Hammett, who's on our organizing team. He asks, how is the PPE produced? I know that 3D printers became a big provider of some things related to PPE, but I didn't think it was face shields. Can you speak to the difference between?
No, that's, we got started on this. We had to furlough everybody in March, like March 19th timeframe. And I was watching a press conference by Governor Cuomo, just of how direly in need of PPE equipment they were. And we had a bunch of equipment that was used for manufacturing fabric graphics, but they're also used in the garment industry. So we just kind of looked at the assets that we had and tried to say, you know, with these tools and the people that we have in place, how can we make an impact? And people were making face shields in the Halo unit, 3D printing them. And we have 3D printers as well. They are ridiculously slow if anybody's used to additive manufacturing. And my thought process was, okay, I might be able to get 8 out a day. How do we flip it? And so we have CNC cutters, we have direct to substrate printers, we have laser cutters, 3D printers. And we just came up with we were pretty fortunate to come up with a design that we worked on it over the weekend, and we were selling it in tens of thousands on Monday. So we were kind of shut down effectively over the weekend.
And that's the difference between additive manufacturing versus subtractive?
Subtractive. So the subtractive's way easier. I can get one Halo out in about a minute. And then, so I can probably get 20-some thousand Halos on a week. And the plastic face shield component, I can probably get close to 100,000 units out in a week. So it's just a way quicker process. And then we also had the advantage of being able to do different materials. We had one that was antimicrobial, one that was more of a cost-effective solution. We developed a Pro Halo, which articulated, and then we also, once it started getting into the general public spaces like teachers and children need to be able to use them, we came up with the Comfort Halo, which is very lightweight, flexible. You know, hospital workers are used to wearing the equipment where the general public wasn't. So we were able to continue to develop it and adapt it to different situations and different markets. And
NASA is interested in that material as well because it's static free, right?
Correct. And yeah. We just sent the stuff off to them for their clean rooms.
Yeah. So, and Chris is being a little humble when he said that they just sort of came up with this design that they're fortunate to he came up with the design, and he actually innovated on a design that I had gotten from Hopkins and shared with him. And he made it so that they could not only manufacture it, but made it modular. So now you can just buy the halo, and then let's say you want a different face shield, like of a different character. And this happens around the holidays. A lot of the nurses and dentists will they'll get the Christmas, Hanukkah themed, Halloween themed, whatever face shields, and they'll just switch them out. And so they pay less for just the shield that's printed. So that modular design is very innovative, and Chris came up with that on his own.
And that was to solve an immediate need. The material, the PETG or the polycarbonate they were building the clear plastic part out of became very, very, very hard to find. I made a really big bet. I took basically every dime we had, and I bought up every piece of the material I could get my hands on, and that paid off. So the Hopkins was they put it all out to hospitals across the country of build it, glue in a piece of foam, staple on elastic, which made it a one-time use element. Ours was a quick change modular face shield into a halo unit, so that the way the plastic piece, the clear part, could be disinfected and then put back into use, saving the recurring cost of that. So you would get 30 times out of a clear plastic piece instead of one.
So our next question here is from Tina Thomas from Infinite Love Project, who I think, Chris, you were in that meeting when that was our very first 1 million cups.
Yeah.
And you've met them. She asks, how long had you been in business with the event company?
Our event company, we just did 6 years. 6 years on September 12th. So this is pretty much all I've done my whole life, though. Event industry is problem solving. It's how to MacGyver something. Every event that you do, something's going to go wrong. Just a varying degree of how bad. And you just have to be able to look around and say, this is what I've got available. And then how do I make this make an impact? And that's kind of the mindset we've taken to all of this.
Earlier in my own career, I worked under Chris at another event company, which is how we met. And one of the things I remember Chris teaching me was that he asked me, what is design, Graham? I'm thinking, I don't know, it's drawing, it's all this stuff. And he's like, nope, it's problem solving. And sure enough, that's exactly how he approaches all these types of challenges, from that design thinking, problem solving perspective. All right, next question, Mark Weingram. Thank you for joining once again, Mark. If you haven't gotten your mug yet, Mark, you're due one. So make sure I get your address if I haven't sent to you already. Has your success attracted competition from incumbents in the printing realm like Vistaprint or Custom Ink, etc.?
There are competition, people, I wouldn't even say it's competition. There are people who started printing characters or designs on face shields. Most of it looks like it's coming from overseas. We were, I think, kind of uniquely positioned. Unlike a Vistaprint, our manufacturing and printing equipment slightly different than theirs and on a different scale. And our cutting capability allowed us to process this type of material at close to mass production quantities. And I don't have a ton of experience in the Signoramas, the Vistaprints, but I think they're more geared to collateral based, and I could be way wrong. But the way we were set up, we were big enough to have these assets and small enough to not be encumbered by, like some of the bigger exhibit firms really tried to do this as well, but they were so large they couldn't steer their ship quick enough. So we were able to do, and that's been kind of the key to this whole process is, Graham came in one day with an idea for a shield drape, which is a piece of fabric that extends the bottom of the shield down to the chest, which California then allows that to be used as a face covering. He came in, said Heather had saw this article. We developed our own line of fabrics, dye sublimated, printed them, and had them to market within a day. So we were able to rapid prototype. We're constantly freshening up the line with new designs. We do them all in-house, and then we're fortunate enough to be able to manufacture them right here. I mean, at one point we were doing, 750 to 1,000 orders a day, and we were not set up to do that. So the whole process has been a real learning curve.
Well, and yeah, you've had to go through the experience of learning about the different, what is it called, the levels of, like for the gowns, protecting the wearer from contamination. I can't remember what that's called.
So different levels. They have level 1, 2, 3, and 4 surgical and isolation gowns. We had to completely develop that process. It's slightly different. It's not part of the Shield Pals environment, but yeah, just I think we did 100 and some thousand gowns for the state of Maryland, and we're hopefully getting ready to do up to 1 million gowns. But it's all utilizing the same equipment that we do use on the shields.
And when I look at what Chris has accomplished, in pivoting Hatch exhibits into producing PPE while events are basically non-existent, right? That's why he did this, was to basically figure out, how do I take these resources that I have, keep my people on board that I had just furloughed, right? I look back at all that, you can't help but think, with the success that he has had in making that pivot, not everybody has been that successful in making that pivot. I think about the quote, I think it's Oprah Winfrey said, luck is when opportunity meets preparation, or something like that. And that certainly applies to Chris. However, there is also some dumb luck that has entered into Chris's journey. And I just wanted Chris to maybe talk about who his new mentor is now and how that happened.
Yeah, so I don't know if anybody's familiar with Gary Vaynerchuk, but I've always had really stupid luck constantly through my whole life. There's this group called Omaze, and they give away experiences. They try to raise money for charities. They get people, right now they're doing a Ford GT 40 giveaway. It's Ford versus Ferrari, and Christian Bale gives it away. And I joked to my wife, like, why didn't I win that one? But so Gary Vaynerchuk gave an experience where you get to have lunch with him and his team, and then I get him for a mentor coach for a year. My first interaction is February 5th at 12:30 now. So yeah, I'm hoping that that relationship might be able to help continue the path that we're on. Hope, to open up some doors.
Congrats. Can we be a fly on the wall there?
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool. I've enjoyed him. So I found this one fun thing I've done is I build really old BMX bicycles. And if you Google Gary V childhood, you'll see this picture of him and his sister on a bicycle. I found that bicycle. It's got to be completely tore down. It delivers today. So we're going to build him his first childhood bike and give it to him. So that starts today.
That's pretty cool, Chris. Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris has like a BMX bike museum, because he and his brother used to ride BMX bikes when they were kids. He has, I think he's probably the top collector of BMX bikes in the world now.
Of DGs.
Of
DGs,
right.
I have, a hefty collection of them. My wife's chagrin.
All right. Well, thank you, Chris. I mean, that's our time for the Q&A.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
And congrats on all the success so far. I'm proud to be part of your journey in that regard.
And I'm glad to have a friend.
Thanks. A shield pal.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to our next presentation. Up next is Carrie Pierce. She's the founder of Flip Yours Fitness here in Westminster, Maryland, and now opening a new business called Change Space, and I will let her tell you all about that. So Carrie, go ahead and take it away, and everybody else please mute.
One second so I can
I catch you off guard, sorry.
no, you're good. I just want to be able to show you a portion of my screen so that I can see slides still. Cool. So can you see that okay?
Yep, looks great.
Awesome. So I'm Carrie Pierce. I own Flip Yours Fitness and Wellness and Change Space Meditation Room and Wellness Lifestyle Retail Supply. Both are in downtown Westminster in the old Yingling Tire Building. And I'm very happy to be here. First of all, to thank Val, who introduced me to this concept right before 1MC launched in Westminster. So I've had the opportunity to be here since the beginning, and that's been a really big blessing for me. I've really appreciated getting to know all of you and what you're doing, and it's nice to know as an entrepreneur that I'm not always floating around out there by myself, that there's a whole community of you there and kind of energetically in support of me, even though you're focused on you in large measure. And also just to welcome Gwen DeGroff, who is tuning in with us today. She's actually the newest training team member for Flip Yours Fitness and Wellness. So thanks for showing up today, Gwen. So there's a picture of a tiger in bushes here, and this is to be able to tell you like what one of my biggest fears is. I can talk about fitness and wellness endlessly. It is absolutely 100% my passion, and my brain does not work in linear fashion. And so it's going to be very hard for me to stick to slides and keep in progression of slides. And so my tiger in the bushes that I'm just pointing out to all of you is, God help me, here we go. So here's what Change Space, wow statement, right? Change Space is a store that changes lives, and I should just mic drop it right there and say, you know, wow, here we are. But seriously, we shop, right? Why do we shop? We shop for a lot of different reasons, some of which are to get our basic needs met, right? I need food, I need a t-shirt, I'm gonna go to a store and I'm going to shop. Beyond our basic needs, we shop for stuff. And in large measure, a lot of what we attach to our stuff is happiness. So we buy things for the hedonic hit, those like dopamine hits of stuff. I like these sneakers. I don't really need sneakers, but I'm gonna buy these sneakers and they make me feel good about myself for a period of time. And then that kind of happiness wears off as it's related to the sneakers. Maybe every once in a while when I put them on, I get excited, but I've lost my interest a bit. It's time to go buy more stuff, get another hit. So this kind of hedonic happiness loop or cycle is something that we are really attached to from a consumer perspective in our society. And so obviously I've just started to talk about happiness to you, and happiness, real happiness, feels out of reach for so many people. There's a true mismatch between the quantity and the quality of the social relationships that we have and those that we want. Suicide remains on the rise. In 2018, it was the leading cause, the second leading cause of death in 10 to 34-year-olds, and the fourth leading cause of death in 35 to 54-year-olds. Mental illness is on the rise, substance abuse is on the rise, PTSD symptoms and diagnoses are on the rise, depression's on the rise, anxiety is on the rise. This is probably nothing new to any of you. Happiness, social connectedness, happiness, self-satisfaction that comes out of social connectedness is one of the primary ways that we treat, or we try to, not treat, but we try to prevent suicide. Same thing with mental illness. Social connectedness is one of the biggest ways that we work to support those who are mentally ill, substance abuse. To get into recovery and to remain in recovery, it takes social support. So this idea of interconnectedness, this idea of actual happiness that comes from us loving and showing affection toward each other in authentic manners, is at the absolute basis of meeting our true needs. So Abraham Maslow, you might know of him. He created the hierarchy of needs. You may have learned about that like way back in psychology in high school. So he says when basic physiological and safety requirements are met, a person's primary psychological need is a sense of affectionate and loving connection to others. From an evolutionary perspective, the motive to belong is central to human existence and to culture. If you think back to tribal times, we had to have a role in our communities. We had to know our place in our communities, and we had to be welcomed continually or made to understand our sense of belonging to those communities, or we were shunned. They literally cast us out, and we were left to die, because survival of a tribe or survival of a species is only as strong as its weakest link, right? So we have gotten so big societally that we don't have as much of the social support networks and the true places to connect, to make sure that the dimensions of wellness are being addressed, particularly those that are social. So there are so many models of wellness that are out there. And this is just one of them that's showing kind of 8 structures, these kind of 8 dimensions of wellness. And big ones that tie into social, although it's its own piece of the pie, are environmental, are intellectual, are emotional, and are spiritual. So we cannot get away from the fact that we are meant to be together and to communicate with one another and to function in a coexisting manner. If we didn't need each other, we'd be able to reach that spot right in the middle of our backs. And I know you can't reach yours and I can't reach mine. And so if you're questioning anything about what I'm saying, go ahead and try to scratch that spot for yourself. We are meant for community, folks. And I think this last year has proven more and more just how much we don't do well in social isolation. The reality is that so many of us pre-pandemic still live in a large measure in what is considered actual social isolation. So what did I do? I created a store. All of this, like, right, this girl runs a store. So what is she talking about? Change Space is not just a store. I mean, sure, it's a store. This is what it looks like right now. You walk in and there's stuff in here, right? Come get your hedonic hit. Come buy some stuff from Change Space, certainly. A little bit more stuff in Change Space. But the reality of what we're really selling is community. So what we need is community. What we need to learn how to do is have a true expression of feelings, to make true connections. This is called eudaimonic happiness. It's the opposition to hedonic happiness. Eudaimonic happiness is the more fulfilling, the more meaningful happiness that we achieve. And you felt it before. You have an interaction with somebody and you feel good and light and happy. You exchanged energy with that person and you now walk away with a little piece of their happiness attached to you if they were able to share that with you. We have such a huge opposition to feelings. I know I probably have about a minute, but we have this huge opposition to feeling feelings. And there's a whole faction of people in our society who say, like, you know, oh, I don't feel things very deeply, and, you know, I don't really talk about my feelings, or I'm just kind of always happy. And I just have to tell you, quite professionally, my professional opinion is that's crap. It's absolute crap. We are actually meant to know how to feel feelings and express feelings. The problem is that we have been taught that our feelings are wrong. And that's not to say that that's wrong that we've been taught that. It's just societally, from our earliest times, we get told that our feelings aren't our feelings. So I fall, I cut my knee as a young girl. This is not me. And I'm told you're okay. And what I'm feeling is pain, and I'm bleeding, and I'm visually seeing like something that's not right. And I'm being shushed and told, like, it's okay, you're okay, calm down, don't worry, whatever. So those kinds of messages, this is just one example, but those kinds of messages have taught us to dissociate from our feelings, to hide them, to feel even sometimes shame about them, etc. And I am working very hard as a professional in a health and wellness capacity to break through those ingrained and taught manners of being opposed to feelings, and to start to really work to have spaces where we can go and explore our authentic selves and actual community in the way that truly does support overall wellness. So Change Space exists as, yes, a meditation room and this wellness lifestyle retail store. And it truly exists because my belief is that meaningful change will happen when we choose to make space for it. So yes, Change Space is selling products that support a healthy lifestyle, and Change Space is offering wellness services like acupuncture, Reiki, reflexology. We have a licensed massage therapist on board. We'll soon have a licensed therapist working out of the store as well. But ultimately, Change Space is giving away compassion, connection, and community. We don't live in communities, we are community. So community doesn't exist without the people that are in it, and beyond people just being in it, we have to actually make meaningful connections. We used to go to markets, we used to go to stores, we used to go out into our smaller villages and have community and have actual interactions. And we just don't do that as much anymore. You can go and sit in the library and nobody will talk to you. You can go and sit in Starbucks and nobody will talk to you. You can go into the mall and shop and nobody will talk to you. So I've envisioned Change Space as a place where it's home base. It's a place to come. It's a community that exists to change lives, and a place where people can come and just be. I can't tell you how many hugs I give on a daily basis, even during coronavirus pandemic timeframe. When somebody needs a hug, I'm gonna hug that person. Masks on, faces turned away from each other. But I've hugged more people in a professional capacity in a store over the last 2.5 years than I've ever done in my whole life in any other business I've ever worked in or owned. It's really an amazing thing to start to allow people to be somewhere where they can express themselves. And this is a real actual Change Space. I'll just call her community member. Her name's really Karen. And she said to me on Thanksgiving morning, she sent me a text message. She's shopped in my store twice. She's been in 6 times. And she said, "You've changed my life this year. You've changed my life." Just by allowing somebody to come in and feel what is there, which is this authentic feeling of share yourself with us. I know I've run really long. Bram, you got to shut me down here. So what's so exciting about Change Space is we're getting ready to expand. We are in the process. We are building out into a larger space, more community space. This is happening as we speak. And I couldn't be more proud of what I'm doing. I couldn't be more proud of, what we have as our future outlook. And I'm just mostly here today to let you know, if you think you see this little store, it's so much more than a store. I invite you to come in. I invite you to talk about us. And more than anything, I invite you to be a part of your community on a deeper level and come see what we're about.
Thank you, Carrie. Great presentation. Sorry I didn't interrupt you because you gave yourself a 1-minute warning 5 minutes ago.
3 times.
Yeah. All right, so let's go right to the Q&A here. Val Givignoni from Ting asks, so are you saying I can just come and hang out?
Yeah, actually, that is what I'm saying. So we have a meditation room that exists as a community space. People can come into the meditation room and sit whenever they want, but they can also come into the store and sit. We are in our expansion phase, adding even more of a hangout type space to give a little bit of kind of construct to that space. We will be creating a change space patron status. So we're just asking people to basically formally commit themselves to our community. There will be a really nominal fee, and if somebody tells me they can't afford the nominal fee, then there will be no fee. But just to kind of build a little bit of a sense of folks that we know we can directly communicate with about some things. And yes, to give them space to just come chill out. So we have change space proper right now at 19 Liberty Street is in Suite 4, and this build out is happening in Suite 3. The 2 suites will hopefully be connected within a month or 2. Right now they're connected through a hallway, and the whole entire current space will suddenly be just more of a hangout and community space. So we're going to have a lending library. There will be some couches and a few tables. We already have a back deck along the back of the building that has tables at it. I invited people from the moment that we opened to come bring their lunch, come, you know, sit outside downtown. We have umbrellas in the summertime or on sunny days, and just come be part of something outside of ourselves, outside of the workplace environment. So in the new space will be a couple of additional treatment rooms for the complementary services that we offer, like acupuncture, Reiki, reflexology, the licensed massage therapy, though that not typical massages like you would think of. And then I'm a health coach, certified health coach and certified sports nutritionist. So I work with supplementation and obviously nutritional counseling and guidance, exercise. I own a gym. So I avail myself of coaching people at, in this new place. I'll have an office and people will be able to come and ask questions.
Well, I think you answered Val's other question about expanding and what's going into the new space. So I will jump to Tina's question about how has the pandemic closures affected your efforts? Has online communication been effective for you?
So great question, Tina. Yeah, the pandemic was hard when you're in the business of exchanging real live energy with people through shared time and space together. It definitely doesn't translate as easily through, you know, a technologically enhanced format. It just doesn't. But we did our best. We had to quickly go to an online store as best we could to just keep sales revenue up, because sales revenue is what has created or allowed for the existence of this free meditation space and the free meditation that I would lead and facilitate, as well as lots of free wellness education that we've done in the store prior to the pandemic. So it's been challenging. I have done some work online, but I own 2 businesses, and it was more important to me to figure out how to keep some people employed and to keep businesses open than to really expand out into a lot of additional communication. So thankfully, I'm just starting to get to a place where I feel like I'm going to be able to launch a few new initiatives and get back to this larger outreach with better communications and more community presence. We were just about to launch family dinners where we would have tables in restaurants that we like made a big reservation for, and then we invite people to come and like eat together. In European countries, sitting at communal tables is a really big deal, and you like go and you sit and eat your meal and you get to talk to other people. And we were just about to launch that, and then we lost the ability to do that. So that might be something to take online.
Also, for those of you who are wondering where she's located, it's, as she said, 19 Liberty Street, but it's across the street basically from O'Lorden's Irish Pub, if you're familiar with that as a landmark. She's across the street there. And actually, I have a question about that. Like, how do I get into your space? If I'm not a member of Flip Yours Fitness, like my wife is now, proud member, how do I actually access Change Space, and what are the hours?
So right now, for the next 6 weeks or so, while we're still finishing the build out of the new space, you would come around the back side of 19 Liberty Street. So you see the big Flip Yours garage door, if you'd come around the back side of the building, that's where Change Space exists. There's a deck boardwalk along the back of the building. And if you follow that down, we have a lovely, like 1,000 square foot store waiting to greet you. And after we open the new location, right there, when you're standing looking at Flip Yours Fitness and Wellness, you'll look to your right and we'll have a big storefront right there. The store hours are currently Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 11 to 6, 11 to 6, and then Saturday, 9 to 2. All of that will be expanding with this new location opening.
Excellent. And Val has a follow-up question about what is your top 3 favorite wellness products in the store? What are you recommending? Top 3.
That's so funny. Val is a customer of the store, and so she is baiting me with questions, and I'm shamelessly going to just answer all of them. The top 3 wellness things that I love in the store would be, we have these mushroom drinks called droplets, and they are slightly effervescent, and they have mushrooms in them. So I don't know if you know that a huge percentage of the ingredients in pharmaceuticals are mushrooms. So something like 40% of the ingredients in nearly every pharmaceutical medication on the market is a mushroom. And so mushrooms are wildly awesome for us from a health perspective. And we have these effervescent drinks with kind of blended profiles that help enhance like focus and help enhance being a little chill. And they're using mushrooms to create those nuanced kind of mood profiles. The other thing I love is Wet-Its. They are a square or round paper towel replacement. You wet them and you then can wipe anything down. They're highly absorbent. You can wash them in the washer machine. You can put them in the dishwasher. And so they can replace, dozens of rolls of paper towel over the lifetime of their usage. And they're completely compostable, so they're not going to sit in a landfill. Wellness extends beyond the boundaries of our physical beings, folks. We have to keep a well environment. Also, that is our job to do as patrons of the planet. So really love Wet-Its. And I don't know, Val, there's like 700 things in there. The store exists so I can introduce products I love and have researched and spent lots of my own money on to introduce them to a larger community. So I'll tell you all to come in and buy a droplet and buy a Wet-It and then find your own 3rd favorite product.
That sounds great. Councilwoman Ann Gilbert says, expanding during COVID is amazing. Congratulations. And I cannot wait to just hang out and get some mushroom fizzies. We used to get mushroom fizzies in high school, as I recall.
Yeah.
So, Carrie, and actually, Chris, I need to ask you the same question since you're still here because I forgot to ask you at the end of your presentation. But Carrie, what can our community do for you?
Yeah, I could really just use some help raising awareness about Change Space. So first of all, while we've been tucked on the back side of the building, so many people that have come in the door have been so pleasantly surprised to find us. And despite one person and now multiple people's best efforts to say like, hey, have you heard of Change Space? Any more voices echoing that and amplifying that would be awesome. So first, come for yourself and check in. So on social media or whatever, and just spread the word. And then secondly, how something like this continues to have more and more legs is just own your part of being what community is, period. And make sure that you're listening to people when they are talking and that you're listening to understand and to hear what they are feeling versus always hearing and thinking of what we might say next or our own sense of what we might be feeling. So just be a better community member. And certainly if you'd like to be a part of Change Space community, we'd love to always have you.
And for those of you who aren't in Westminster or Carroll County, if you need a mental retreat day, now you know Westminster is a destination. You can reserve a meditation room or get a massage at Change Space. And, center your whole day around Westminster, right? So, thank you very much, Carrie. Great job. And I know we're very proud to have you here in the community doing what you're doing. Chris, let me just bump it over back to you real quick since we didn't get to ask you at the end of your presentation. What can our community do for you?
Our big challenge, I think right now is just coming up with distribution channels that my distribution channels were not set up for healthcare systems. Completely different business group. I know this isn't a networking event, but connections, people that are in a field that I'm just not that familiar with. I think we've done some stuff with the hospital system out there at the beginning of it, but just getting the word out there pretty much.
Yeah, Carroll Hospital. That's right. You had face shields at Carroll Hospital. So if you go to Carroll Hospital and you see animals on the nurses' face shields, you know where they came from. But yeah, so thank you both very much for presenting today. And as we get ready for the inauguration, hopefully you are all now in a positive mental space, to adjust and change gears for the day, enter into a whole new, era of our country's life, so to speak. Tina just wants to know best way to get in touch. Who are we talking to, Tina? Carrie or Chris or both? Both. Okay. So maybe drop your LinkedIn's. There we go. Carrie is at Change Space Community. I'm assuming that's her Instagram and Twitter, and the website. And I know Chris is at shieldpals.com, and we can Chris at hatchexhibits.com is his email, right, Chris?
Yep.
There you go. There it is. So anyway, so thank you all for making room for 1 million cups this morning on Inauguration Day. Thank you again to Chris McCormick and Carrie Pierce for presenting Shield Pals and Change Space. Once again, the more of these that you attend, the more you can earn, whether it's a mug or a t-shirt. So we really appreciate your continued support and consistent support as we really still get this community off the ground and keep into a rhythm of things. So I'll give you all back the last 2 minutes, 3 minutes of our time here, and wish you all a happy Inauguration Day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Carrie.
Thanks, everyone.
Have an awesome day, everybody.
Enjoy. Bye-bye.
Bye.